Execute Podcast 66.
Hey, I'm Alex.
I'm James.
And I'm Dan.
We're the Ragamuffins, and welcome to episode 66 of the Ragamuffin Music Podcast. It's a place for us to talk about the music that we love.
On this episode, we're reviewing brand new albums from Poppy and Crystal Lake, as well as singles from Lamb of God and more.
And we'll each reveal 3 albums that most define us.
Let's get straight into the latest releases. No messing about today.
First one up then, Static Dress, Human Props.
Yeah, really good. They've started, I think, to find like a level now where they're going to be much easier to listen to for newcomers. I've loved Static Dress for a few years now, but the one issue I've had is I've often struggled to like pinpoint their lyrics and like find the hooks and stuff in some of their music. The last 3 songs they've released have been much more down the catchier chorus, hookier side of things, but still stayed true to their usual kind of noisy, like rowdy sound as well. So I think they're finally kind of... I mean, they've been on the rise for a long time now, but I think they're really going to nail it this year. It sounds like this kind of sound is going to be what pulls them forward, I think, and gives them mass appeal.
Yeah, they've been a band that like I've enjoyed, but I've not necessarily fully got into. This is much more like down my avenue for it. We'll get into a bit more in the gig talk, but I saw it live, and there was a lot of energy, and a lot of people had learned the lyrics already, so that was quite cool to see. Yeah, it feels like this is much more down an accessible route of Static Dress for me that I would enjoy. So I'm hoping there's more of this, and I'm intrigued to see what's next.
Yeah, I predicted Static Dress in the previous episode for our 2026 bingo that they were going to have a massive year this year, and I think that this is the best way to start off. Signing to a label like Sumerian Records to be able to push their music to more people, and then starting the year off with an absolute banger. I think this band have just been... I think they've had a really solid identity from day one. It's just been refining, like more and more with every song. Like Dan said, the last few singles have been the catchiest, but also the craziest at the same time. But like, I feel like they've really found that blend now between what can be crazy and what can be catchy, and I think they're fucking great. I will still hold that Burn It Down set as like one of my favourite sets I think I will ever see. So everyone go see Static Dress in 2026. Trash Boat are back. Even if I never get there, their brand new song. What do we think?
I think this and the single before it, which I've forgotten the name of, Get By Then Die, I think it was called. It feels like a real hark back to some of their older stuff and their older sound. They're back, they're reinventing themselves. But yeah, taking aspects of the older sound kind of around sort of the second album, I think it is what it sounds most similar to. High energy, noisy, screamy. I think a lot of people will love this, and I do too.
Yeah, I think whether or not it's a conscious effort, but I feel like they've been over like these singles and the previous album. I feel like they've been writing FIFA songs. Do you know what I mean? Like I feel like they sound like a band that sort of... It's almost like they're resurging like that like FIFA band sound, which I really love. I think the song is really fun. I think it sounds like, to me, a blend of every era, like really nicely sort of wrapped up in one song. It's got bits of the first album, which is my personal favourite album. But yeah, there's just elements of sort of everything that they've done up to this point on display in this. So I think that it is a banger.
It'll be interesting to see where this falls, because the EP comes out this week. And so out of the 4-track, it'll just be interesting to see like the collective sound overall and what they're kind of going for. They deliberately took a step back from any touring, any music for a while, and kind of wanted to have a bit of a break. So it would be kind of just to see how the EP as a whole is going to sound and where these songs fit in. Because I always find that interesting when you hear the singles by themselves and then hear it as a collection, whether it's an EP or an album. And I feel like that can also change a lot of how I see a song. It's not the strongest Trash Boat song for me personally, but it is still solid, I think. And it's nice to see them back.
It is very nice to see them back. I'm
Yeah,
happy they're
it
back.
was fun seeing them at Trees last year. No, it's Slam Dunk this year coming up. So
Slam Dunk this year. I'm sure they'll be doing a lot more as well. They're out on a UK tour.
Mm-hmm. Happy days.
It's going to be a good year for Trash Boat, I think.
Yeah. Next up, we got Into Oblivion by Lamb of God. Now, this is an interesting one because ever since the Chris Adler departure, which broke my heart into pieces, I've never kind of had the same attachment to Lamb of God, and especially their new music. However, like some of these singles that have come out, and especially this one, it kind of gives me, and I don't know with you in particular because you'll know a lot of the older discography, it kind of gives me a bit more throwback vibes to like Ashes and Sacrament with the guitar riffs. It's not the same drum patterns as I'm used to and stuff with Chris Adler, but this does feel like a bit more of a look back and kind of honouring the past of Lamb of God while also bringing it into the future and acknowledging their past a bit more. I do always love Randy's vocal style. I think it's incredibly unique, and it's one of those things whenever you hear a song and you hear his vocals come in, it's like, yep, I know straight away. And yeah, I'm intrigued to hear the album that's coming out with this and just to kind of see where the next step is. And I'm kind of slowly getting back on board the Lamb of God train, I think.
Yeah, I think Throwback's a pretty fair estimate, actually, because it does sort of have a Sacrament, Ashes of the Wake kind of feel to it. And I mean, that's high praise. Those albums are iconic, and I think arguably their best albums, particularly Sacrament. But I mean, Ashes of the Wake is probably also. I mean, that's the one too. You can decide which way around it goes. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, it's weird. I was talking to someone at work about the Chris Adler stuff, and he mentioned that he'd heard an interview, and Chris Adler sort of went into the details of why he'd left. And I'm not sure how recent it was. I haven't been caught up on it, so I only caught up on it this week. And he basically just had like he developed this condition that apparently is quite common with like repetitive movements. And basically he just couldn't use his right foot for the kick pedal anymore. And I feel like, I don't know, in another reality, if they had handled his exit
better,
because I can understand.
His brother's the guitarist and they don't talk anymore.
If he can't do it anymore, and they came to like an agreement about his exit and addressed it properly to the fans, I feel like it would have been a lot easier for us to just move on and get on with it. Whereas I do feel like it did probably put a sticking point for a lot of Lamb of God fans to like get back into their music, because it just felt like he'd kind of been done rotten.
Did it make it seem like a falling out or something instead then?
They just didn't really address it in any way, shape or form. And if it was like something like medical where you can't perform and it's not like a falling out, you kind of expect a band to make a statement about it and just kind of be very upfront and honest.
Yeah.
Whereas like if there's a falling out, you kind of just hear nothing at all. And it was just like left a bit ambiguous and strange when it happens.
It reminded me, I think, it was comparable to the way that Joey Jordison left Slipknot, in the sense that this image was painted of him like he can't do it anymore, he's not reliable, blah 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 blah.
Again,
when the reality was, it was like a medical condition that was. I mean, I know that Joey Jordison had some other stuff going on, but at the crux of it, it was a medical condition that then led to his inability to play. So I feel like people would get it if you were just
open about it.
Yeah. And he also said that him playing for Megadeth did cause a bit of a sticking point.
Yes,
with Lamb of God.
Yeah. When he jumped in for them, and he did stuff with Protest the Hero as well.
Yeah.
I did see somewhere recently that he's got a new band coming out, so it seems like he's all on the mend. Shallow Rising, so expect some music from them this year. So that'd be interesting to see. It'd be nice to hear like Chris Adler and his unique drumming style back on songs, and maybe, who knows, maybe somewhere down the line they reconnect. We'll see.
Before we move on to the albums, on day of recording, Arcane Roots have come back with a new single called A Wave Across the Sea. It's an absolute banger. They were a band that I absolutely loved back in the day. It's fucking amazing to see them come back, and literally bigger than ever. They've added new members. They're now a 5-piece rather than a 3-piece. And the new song is awesome. It feels like Josh and I were listening to it earlier, and the first thing that I said was, if Sleep Token dropped that, people would be going nuts right now. It's very progressive, very heavy, very ambient and world building. And you should all go and listen to it. It's very, very cool.
I remember one of you saying to me that Arcane Roots were like a crazier Biffy Clyro.
Yeah.
Cool. I'll check it out.
Mm-hmm.
I got 2 as well then. Mood Ring with Masochist Machine and Humanity's Last Breath. Humanity's Last Breath.
Humanity's Last Breast, baby.
Humanity's Last Breath. Humanity's Last Breath with Godhood. 2 wonderfully fun, heavy tracks.
I didn't know you listened to Mood Ring.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Arcane Roots will also be playing, in fact, headlining the Axiom stage at 2000 Trees on the Friday, I believe, this year. That's been confirmed now. They're also confirmed for a second stripped back set of rarities and all the good stuff as well.
Assuming that be in the forest.
I expect so.
Lovely
Be
set
nice,
in that
wouldn't it?
forest.
Can I ask Dan, as an Arcane Roots lover,
Mm-hmm.
is that an underbooking for them to be there? Do you think they should be on main stage?
I think that's fine. I think I would prefer them to be on main stage, but I think if they were on main stage, they'd be kind of a bit earlier in the day.
right.
Whereas if you want like a proper good we're back homecoming celebration, I think headlining one of the tents is a pretty decent
Fair
spot
enough.
as well.
No, that's all good. I just was curious.
Depends who they're up against as headliners that night as well, I guess. Either way, Arcane Roots are back, and I'm very excited. We've got a new album from Poppy called Empty Hands. What do we think?
That was a face. Go on.
Uh-oh.
Go on.
So I listened to the first track of this album, and I'll be real with you. My immediate reaction was to have Jordan Fish jailed for crimes against music, war crimes against music. And then Bruce Sky started, and I was like, oh, actually, this is a bit of a banger.
Mm-hmm.
Then 2 songs of kind of nothingness happened. Well, one of them's like an interlude.
I bet you love that.
Didn't.
You love interludes.
But then it was 2 more bangers, and I thought, okay, well, actually, we're back on track again here. And then just a whole lot of nothing happened. And then I liked the closing track as well. It felt like, basically, my point being, it felt like an album that was, I don't know if it was deliberate, but it was almost like pulling me in with a song that was good, and then pushing me away with a song that was, let's say, difficult. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like that maybe is probably a deliberate thing, knowing what Poppy is like and what her online sort of persona has been in the past. It's sort of the kind of thing that deliberately keeps you at arm's length in a way. So I kind of get it. I get what this album is doing. I don't enjoy all of it. And I think it's the same with Negative Space. Negative Space or Negative Spaces?
Spaces.
Negative Spaces, where a lot of it I really enjoyed, and then it gets to a few songs and I'd be like, what the fuck is going on? Yeah, so that's sort of my brief overview. I will say I love her screams.
Yeah.
I know that she just said in the press recently that she kind of doesn't give a fuck about technique, which means that she won't be doing it for much longer. But let's just enjoy it while it lasts. I think she might be currently my favourite screamer to listen to.
Wow.
Her cleans are good, and I do like her cleans, but her
There
screams,
are some like
there's
guttural
some
kind
of
of
her
moments
screams
as
on this
well.
album, and I think I've said it before.
It's not even the gutturals. I just love when she's fully like wailing, like
Yeah.
high up, the
Banshees.
full on. Again, not giving a shit about
Yeah.
technique, just fully.
I think I've said in the past, like, I think with screaming, it needs to sound like, not sound like it hurts, but you need to hear some sort of pain or anguish or anger or something in that voice. And I think that's what puts me off of a lot of other modern heavy music. Spoiler alert for the next album. Is like, there are a lot of singers out there who have really great technique, but it's just technique. Whereas she is full of character in her vocals. So I think that
It's a
kind
performance.
yeah, it's a performance rather than just a mechanism, if that makes sense. Overproduced in places, I think, is a very fair thing to
I
say.
do agree.
But I
think
mean, that's just Jordan Fish in it, so.
I think, like you said, the high points on this album are the heavy bits, where she's absolutely just wailing and screaming.
Yep.
Where you've got the blast beats, you've got the riff slowing down. I think those are the stand-up parts on the album, particularly on songs like "If We're Following the Light," "Ribs" as well is one of my favourites on there. There are moments where some of the lighter, clean singing choruses are really catchy and really, really good.
Guardian pops out.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, I agree with Alex. There's times where, particularly those clean choruses, feel like they're doing a little bit too much with vocal effects and sort of ambient noises and things, which I think is the Jordan Fish effect. It has been fishified. But for the most part, I enjoyed this album.
Yes.
I thought it was really, really strong.
I think it will probably. I think it's one that will probably definitely grow on me more because it is
probably definitely.
It does have songs that are like easy on the first listen, but I think it's one of those ones that sort of deliberately tries to challenge you.
There's 2 songs. One you said was good, one that you like meh about, that have writing credits from House of Protection.
Stephen Harrison, yeah, I know. He's on most of it.
Blue Sky and Guardian, it's those 2.
Is he only on those 2?
He's on those 2. Dying to Forget, the real kind of big, heavy one. Writing and performance credits to Isaac Hale.
There you go. Say no more.
I don't really have anything else to add. I kind of agree completely with what you both have said there. The heavier bits are by far the most enjoyable. I kind of sit and listen to it, and then like something big would happen. And I'm like, oh, I'm paying attention again. And then I'll kind of like slowly zone out with it. And it wasn't kind of keeping my attention at that point. So there's good points. There's meh points. You can definitely tell like Jordan Fish has had his hands on this piece of work.
His fins.
And that could be a discussion maybe at some point in the future of
Should
Jordan
we
Fish.
keep allowing Jordan Fish to do?
Are there too many fish in the sea?
Oh, there might well be. And by the look of it, he's been doing work with Caleb. So that could be the Beartooth one as well next that happens. And I think he's been doing work with Bad Omens and stuff as well. So
the Beartooth one I'm interested about because I think Beartooth do need a bit of a shake-up to their vibe. I think, the high points on this album are really high. And then the lower points just make me want to go and listen to Negative Spaces. Do you know what I mean? I'd be sat there thinking, I could be listening to that album right now. But it's definitely an album of ups and downs. More ups and downs as well.
Seeing as you teased it, go on then. Crystal Lake, The Weight of Sound.
I have do you want to go first?
There's a point I want to get in because I think you two will both have the same point as well.
Go for it. No, go for it.
Because all 3 of us are big While She Sleeps fans. And there's a few songs on this album, probably about half of them. And this is a compliment as well as a criticism that sound like the North Stands for Nothing era While She Sleeps. Particularly with the use of the gang vocals, the riffage, the big choruses. Love it. I think that's brilliant.
I couldn't put my finger on it. You've just absolutely nailed it.
Nice.
I had that thought.
I was like, there's something I recognise, but I couldn't place it.
There's one in particular that really, I think it was reminding me of a Crows riff.
Yeah.
I can't remember which track it was in particular.
And you know what? I love those old While She Sleeps songs, so I have to give credit where credit's due. It means I like these songs as well. But I'll play devil's advocate a bit here. Those Sleep songs came out in around 2010 to 2012. Does that mean this album's a bit dated? Does it mean it's nostalgic? I haven't answered that question yet.
Absolutely nailed the sort of vibe that I have with this album is that as I was listening to it, I was sort of conflicted between the thoughts of this album is doing absolutely nothing new. This album is celebrating everything that's ever been good about metalcore.
Yeah.
And I think both of those things can coexist in the same album. I think it is. I think it has high points in the sense that the riffs are great, the songs are good, but I've heard it all before. But I think it's kind of maybe deliberate because some of the features kind of reaffirm that. You've got Carl, who used to be the vocalist of Misery Signals. Sold. I'm immediately sold because I love Misery Signals. You've got Jesse Leach from Killswitch Engage. So immediately by having those voices, you're invoking that nostalgia of the 2000s, the late 2000s, early 2010s metalcore.
I thought it was interesting to have the features so early on in the album as well.
Yes.
I think it's quite common with albums that have features on to have them in the second half or a bit further on. Whereas these seem to pretty much mostly be in the first half.
Yeah, I won't say this is a bad album. This is a good album. I enjoyed it, but I've kind of heard it all before. Which, not everyone can reinvent the wheel. Sometimes you've just got to do a good wheel.
So for some context,
No word from our sponsors, Michelin.
So I was just kind of like looking up a bit about it because they've been a band that I've heard the name so many times, and I kind of wanted to get into them. So this is very much like an entry point for me with it as well. This is their first album in 8 years.
Wow.
It's their first new vocalist after Rio left in 22, and he obviously formed Gnosis. So there's a lot of kind of new parts to that as well. One negative I do have is we don't need another song called The Undertow. We have enough metal songs called The Undertow. We don't need that.
I would have said that, but that's the one with Carl from Misery Signal, so it gets
We still don't need another song called The Undertow. For the vocal features, I really enjoyed the Taylor Barber one from Left to Suffer. I feel like there's parts to this as well where they try and balance kind of having that metalcore sound, which is obviously very defined, and kind of having that throwback with it, but also kind of balancing and teetering on the edge towards some deathcore. And so for me, I've kind of like really enjoyed those parts where it's kind of flitting between the two, kind of like marries up two genres that I absolutely love. I think it was a really solid album, to be honest. There were some songs in particular where there were moments and I heard breakdowns, and I was like, oh, okay, that's nice. Like the one in Never Sleep, I really enjoyed. So it was like, for me, this is just an entry point. I kind of want to listen to a bit more Crystal Lake. So if you've got any recommendations based on previous records and the long history they have, please let me know, because I kind of want to understand this in the grand scheme of it in terms of their discography as well. But for me, I'm kind of just seeing it as an entry point. There was good, there was meh, but overall, I did enjoy the listening of it.
Yeah, bang on.
Upcoming releases, there's a few new albums coming out in the next couple of weeks. We've got Carnival with Inverses, Mayhem with Liturgy of Death, Converge, Love Is Not Enough, and Silosis with The New Flesh. Which out of those are we most looking forward to?
Well, once I finish listening to the new Shields album, which will have just come out at time of release of this episode, probably Silosis. I think that's the most interesting one for me out of those.
I mean, I'll give Mayhem a glance over. Of course I will. Yeah. Converge probably would be interesting.
I kind of want to listen to Converge again. That's a name I've heard thrown about, so it'd be nice to delve into that with the new release as it's happening and see all the discussions. Gig talk. What you been to?
You won't believe it. I've been to the Wonder Years.
Who?
The Wonder Years. Yeah, celebrating 10 years of No Closer to Heaven. They played the album in full, plus the B-sides, Slow Dancing with San Andreas, which is the first time I've heard that live, of course. Sounded great. Really good fun. You could tell it was a B-side, though. Like, it's kind of got the least reception of the whole evening. But for those that knew, it was really good fun. Then they went up for a few minutes, came back and played for another 25 minutes or so. Played a few of the hits. Really, really good evening. It was James's new favourite venue, the Prospect Building in Bristol, which I thought was the Marble Factory under a new name, but it's actually a different warehouse across the street, presumably run by the same people, because it's got the same vibe of having like the little undercover seating area outside with the pizza van and like the little bar and stuff.
Mini Ali Pally.
Little fire heaters out there. Mm-hmm. Really, really nice.
Great place.
And then there's a massive crane hanging from the ceiling in the venue, which is a bit ominous, but you soon forget about it.
Well, I think that one of the buildings in particular for Prospect is now called Crane.
Yeah.
Was that the one you were in?
Yeah.
That was the one I saw straight in then.
Sick.
Yeah.
There are multiple rooms then?
I think there's one massive room by the look of it, and then the crane room as well.
Interesting. I look forward to my first venture there.
Support?
It's very nice. Support came from Gully Boys, who are very, very cool. Kind of post-punky with a bit of emo involved. Yeah, really cool. Go check them out. I do recommend. And Free Throw, who Josh had warned me from his experience, I think mainly at Slam Dunk, that the vocalist didn't quite have it anymore. But absolutely fine. He sounded great to me. I've got video evidence if anyone needs it. Yeah, he sounded amazing. They've just announced a new album as well. So exciting times in the Free Throw world. We didn't rehearse that.
We didn't, no. Just ball of life, innit?
Baller's life.
I went to... Actually, this is a question I want to ask you both. I went to a venue in London called Troxy.
Never been.
I thought we'd been before. I felt
I've
like I'd been
been.
before. Did we go for a Heavy Music Awards?
No.
No.
Was it not there?
That was the Kentish Town
No.
4.
Where did we go for the second year of that, though?
Have
We've
we
been
Wembley.
twice. Was it Wembley?
Oh no, we didn't go to the Wembley one.
It's
It's always been Kentish Town then.
We've
Is
only
it?
been to the Forum twice, yeah.
Okay, I feel like I've been in that venue before.
Where in London is it?
I don't know.
Brilliant.
It's quite south, I think.
Yeah.
Like south-east.
Name a tube stop you went on.
It's on the LDR.
Yeah, you had to
It's on the bloody LDR.
Yeah,
Fuck
yeah.
my ass.
Did go to a banging Chinese that was around the corner, so that was good. It was Paleface, Stick Your Guns, and Static Dress. That's how it was billed on the tour poster. However, it was
Not how it happened on the
Static
night.
Dress were actually the main support, and Stick Your Guns opened, which we didn't find out, me and Callum, until we were there, and we were literally walking over to be like, oh, I wonder if anyone's posted the set times up. And as I was perusing through the different stories, I saw that. So I don't know if Static Dress were just doing the UK leg.
No, they were on both runs, but I would imagine
No, they're all,
they swapped in
swapped in Europe. That was my thinking.
Because Stitch Your Guns are pretty big in Europe.
Yeah, but I don't know. It just felt a bit strange because I really
I
just
do still
expected
think that
it the
is
other way
strange.
around. I really would have thought bearing in mind like the history of Stick to Your Guns and that kind of thing, and Ollie spoke about it on stage of like that was a band he grew up with. I still would have built it the other way around at this point, but either way, it happened. Stitch Your Guns first sounded fucking incredible. Sound was amazing. Crowd singing along. They did not play my favourite song, which is Weapon, which was sad. But it felt like it flew by, and I think it only ended up being about 20 minutes.
Really?
And they went on time and everything.
They got enough bangers for...
Yeah, it
half an
really just felt too quick for that. Crowd were getting lovely involved. It was a lot of fun. Like I say, that was over quick. Static Dress played a new song, which, like I said earlier on, a lot of people were singing along to it. Had quite a muddy mix, and that's something I feel I've actually found quite a lot with Static Dress when I've seen them live. And Ollie's vocals have been a bit buried. The only time, like you mentioned earlier, where I'd say like there was a great mix that I found was at Burn It Down.
Yeah, fair enough. I don't think I've noticed it. How many times have we seen Static Dress?
We've seen them at the same
I
time.
thought they sounded good at Outbreak 22.
I don't remember that far back at this point.
I saw them twice there.
Did we?
Yeah.
I don't remember
Did
that.
they do the early night as well, didn't they?
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't recall that.
That's just... I forgot about that, but they did,
That's
didn't
nearly
they?
4 years ago.
Who else was on that night? Guilt Trip?
Counterparts.
Counterparts.
Sea Space Cowboy?
Yeah, I think so.
That's a fucker of a lineup, isn't it? Jesus Christ.
But yeah, they were fun, but the mix just kind of did put me off a little bit. Another one that is stolen from you guys and Worst Wishes, they also have the TV screens on stage now. So unfortunately that's taken away from you completely. I genuinely spent most of it just watching Sam's drumming. Just the amount of energy
He's a
and
beast,
some of the
isn't he?
stuff that he was doing behind the kit. It was kind of hypnotizing to watch. It was incredible. And then Paleface were on, and it was really fun. They did some like old throwback songs that they rarely play. Rats and the Orphan were quite cool. I saw the first thing I've ever seen at a gig regarding pyro. It was shooting out from the sides as well. I've never seen that before.
Flames or...
Yeah. Like you have all your jets that go up in the front.
Bring Me
They
did
were
it.
they were things at the sides.
Yeah, Bring Me did it.
But like
on a stage that small though.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
this
yeah.
was a 3,000 cap. And inside, and yeah, just seeing that coming from the side. I remember like stood next to Callum at the intro when it all came on, and we were just like, "What the fuck?" That was really cool. Really, really strong set list. To be honest, they did the feature with Stick to Your Guns, and that was a lot of fun live. And yeah, it was a really fun gig to kick off the year. And you can see the vlog on the channel now.
2 questions about the venue, because it's been a few years since I've been there. Have they built anything around it yet? Because when I went, it was basically the only building on that block, and everything else had been demolished.
Yeah, there were like buildings like next to it, but
Okay.
didn't really see what they were. 'Cause it was like right on the corner as you kind of go in.
Fair enough. Everything was like derelict when I went
Yeah.
before. It was really odd. What did you make of the carpet?
strange. It was one of
Yeah.
the first things me and Callum talked about when we got in there. Like, initially walking in, I was like, oh, this looks lovely. I love the layout. Then we noticed a lot of mold on the roof and the ceiling because it's really high and it's white. And then we kind of got to that bottom bit and we're like, oh, the carpet. And it's like, that could be rough with carpet burning in a mosh pit. I didn't hit the decks. That's fine. A lot of people did.
Did you mosh hard as fuck?
I moshed hard as fuck. Circle pits were great fun. I did my duty with crowd surfers. I'm based on that neck deep gig at the end of the last year and with the Paleface one. I'm trying to build up debt so that when it gets to like gigs later on in the year, I've paid my dues in helping other people crowd surf.
You've hit your quota.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So spent a lot of time.
Comes around.
Exactly. Spent a lot of time with that. So if you see me at gigs at the end of the year, I may piss you off with the amount that I'm crowd surfing, but I've paid my dues. Yeah, carpet. I wasn't sure about
Odd,
that.
isn't it?
It was really strange. Really strange.
I went there years ago for a Wonder Year show where they were doing a co-headliner with Mayday Parade. Now, I'm not really bothered about Mayday Parade, so I was secretly hoping that the Wonder Years would be on first. And they were. So I had like a 9:30 curfew. Brilliant.
Lovely. Any gigs coming up?
Counterparts in
I
Birmingham
need to get tickets. For that.
with, yeah,
Who support?
Tsunami.
And there's someone.
There's two others, I
One
think.
step closer?
One step
Yes.
closer. And
Go on,
someone
get
else.
bingo. Get bingo.
Don't tell me. It's not God Complex, is it?
Yeah, I think it is.
Fucking hell. Where have I just pulled that from?
Ding 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 ding. Yep.
It's a good lineup.
Heaven Let Them Die tour.
Yeah, hoping to go to probably the Institute in Birmingham for that one. Like that venue.
Counterparts makes me sad when I think about it.
Why?
Because I listened to the EP.
Have you heard the lyrics? Of course it makes them sad.
No, I prefer I don't want to be that guy. I prefer the old stuff so much. The new stuff just does.
I love
just
Eulogy.
Completely
I love all of it.
switches off.
I love Eulogy. It's one of my favourite albums in the last few years.
I find it so boring. Sorry.
That's a shame.
Hot take. I thought the EP was boring as well. And
It could have been shorter.
Someone
and I'd enjoyed it more.
someone posted a headline set list, and I looked at it and I thought, not bothered. Not
enough.
bothered.
Any gigs you are bothered by?
Haley Williams in June. That's it.
Oh, I'm seeing West Side Cowboy at the Bullingdon in Oxford as well.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
like Christmas come early for you. We didn't talk about Britpop, the new album from Robbie Williams, the record-breaking album.
I assume you've heard it.
Hmm?
I assume you've heard it.
I have indeed.
Thoughts?
It's good. I like it. The first half is
Great
stronger.
review.
The first half is stronger than the
The
second.
first
half.
two tracks are like, oh, what have we got here? Come on then. And then the rest is like, oh.
Yeah,
In my opinion.
yeah, it's fine. It's a good Robbie Williams album.
Never beat Escapeology.
I think it's his best one since like what's it called? Reality Killed the Video Star, which has bodies on it.
Was that the one after
It has-
Intensive Care?
Maybe it's like him on a motorbike on the cover.
I don't remember.
Bodies in the body tree. That one's on it.
I don't
That was
know
before Rude Box, wasn't it? Or was that after?
It might have been after Rude Box.
Hmm.
Rude Box. Anyway.
There's a
Anyway,
tangent.
on to the albums that define me. Rude Box by Robbie.
In the theme of preferring older stuff or newer stuff, obviously the Wonder Year show was a celebration of No Closer to Heaven. But I actually came away from that show thinking maybe their most recent album is their best album. The Hum Goes On Forever.
Really?
The reception that those songs got, considering they're old ones, Super did a little bit during the second set with the hits set, where he said, "Oh, some of you with these album anniversary tours, sometimes you get people that haven't listened to the Wonder Years since that album, and that's fine, but you've missed the best album that we've ever written." And then they played a song from The Hum Goes On Forever, and the reception it got was mad.
Wow.
And it had me thinking, you know what? He might be right.
More than like Suburbia.
He might be right.
Yeah.
I think so. I think it's a more complete album. I think the older stuff are iconic pop punk albums, but I think as like a body of work, I think The Hum Goes On Forever might actually be the most complete album. and I'm just switching onto that, which I find impressive as a band that have been going for as long as they have, like reaching their late 30s and early 40s now, to now still this far into their career be putting out such brilliant pieces of work and putting on such energetic shows, I think is really, really commendable. And I know I'm biased because they're my favourite band, but that's just a point I wanted to make.
Are people milking album anniversary tours a bit much now?
Yes.
Because it dawned on me, as Dan said that he's just been to this one, that the majority of the tours that we've been to over the last 9 months have been album anniversaries.
Not for me.
I've been to 4.
It's because nostalgia sells. It's a very nostalgia-driven industry these days.
What
So-
are all of your ones? The only one that I've been to
Turnover.
is Neck Deep.
Neck Deep, This Wildlife. Was there another one? Maybe just 3.
I wish I went to the Slipknot one.
Happens a lot of festivals as well, doesn't it?
I just
It's looking like Trash Boat are doing a 10-year
I blame
Nothing I Write You.
Alright.
I
set.
blame When We Were Young Fest for this. Because
I
that's
don't-
based on the nostalgia and getting those kind of bands. And they started doing a thing where I think it was on one of the days, one of the years, where it was essentially a load of bands doing throwbacks. And I think there's been so much like talk about that online. It's become a bigger topic, and bands are more likely to do that in festivals. Again, I want to do that to have an exclusive of a band doing that to get them there.
I don't think anyone needs to be blamed for it. I think it's fine to celebrate a popular album, and if
But-
it's what sells tickets,
Yeah.
because a lot of
But is that
people,
not a bit
lot of
sad,
people,
though?
a lot of people just aren't buying music these days.
Yeah, but do you think this, not to get too deep because we're about to have a completely separate discussion about something else, but do you think this could be symptomatic of a bigger problem though, is that people will only buy tickets to tours of shit
Yeah.
that's old? People aren't like hypothetically for the One Years, for example, would that tour have sold as well if they were just doing a normal tour? If they
It's
weren't
tough
doing
to say. I think they themselves have admitted they're surprised at how many people wanted an anniversary tour for that album. From what I saw on their socials, they weren't planning to do an anniversary tour for No Closer to Heaven until
Yeah.
people were asking for it.
I just worry that it's going to create like a, like a supply and demand sort of snowball effect where other bands see that this is what's doing well, so they divert their attention to anniversary tours rather than trying to focus on supporting and touring the new stuff.
The Turnover one, how many years have that been?
10?
Yeah, I think so.
Why?
But
I think
curious.
when it is 10 years, maybe it's just because 2016 was and 2015 were really good years. So maybe we're just getting, do you know what I mean? Maybe we're just hitting it all at once. But I don't know. I just worry that there's like maybe a potential over-reliance on that sort of thing going forward.
Have there
That
been
could be an issue?
any of those announced for festivals currently this year
Don't know.
where they've got that?
I'm sure Slam Dunk will have a few.
I think Trees.
I'm not saying it's it's just bad because I've been to like 3 of them, but I just a sort of a thought experiment. Like, do you think that it could cause a problem?
On the other hand, though, there's a lot of bands that have come back and reformed for anniversary shows and then stuck around again.
Yeah, Kids in Class Houses did
Yeah.
Smart Casual. I don't know. I think, to be honest, at the end of the day, getting just people through the door for live music's the number one goal.
I agree, yeah.
I don't want bands to just sort of start kind of give up on new music because it's just not selling the way that old music does.
Yeah.
Music's the real winner at the end of the day.
Music, yeah. Unless you're Harry Styles, in which case it's your wallet that's the winner.
Let's reintroduce ourselves. We're the Ragamuffins. We like talking about the music that we love. Right now we're going to introduce ourselves to you by revealing 3 albums each that define who we are and the music that we like. These aren't necessarily our favourite albums, but they're ones that we love and ones that we think, I guess, summarise our music taste and summarise the kind of people that we are. Who wants to kick us off with one?
I'll go first. For me, I want to start as close to the beginning as I can. And I'm going to start with the first album that I think I truly obsessed over. It's an album that also introduced me to the world of heavy music in a much more open way, and it is Avenged Sevenfold's self-titled White Album.
I thought you were going to say that, and then immediately I was like, I don't know why my mind went to the sweet.
the sweet greatest hits.
Yeah.
This was the first time that I think I really felt a fascination for heavy music sort of consume me. I was obsessed with everything that I could possibly find about this album. Thankfully, there is a making of documentary where they basically go through every song in like incredible detail, which I've seen more times than I can count. It was an introduction, and that band itself, but that album in particular, is an introduction to drop D tuning, which as a guitar player is life-changing. It's the first time that I really think I've felt a band and an album just completely take over everything that I cared about. All I wanted to do was listen to that band, watch their music videos, watch their live videos, and just be in that bubble.
I can confirm that's all he did for a certain period of time, because he listened to Avenged so much, in particular the Nightmare album, incessantly so much that it killed my enjoyment of them for a good number of years, and I couldn't listen to their music because it's all you would play in the house.
And I was close between picking Self-Titled and Nightmare as my first album here, but I've gone with Self-Titled because I think it's a better overall album, and it's one that I enjoy more, and I think it does a lot more stylistically, I think. And I think also that's a pretty good summary of me, because I like a lot of different stuff and some of it's quite weird. So that album to me is like a peek into my preteen brain, maybe like between the ages of like 11 and 14 probably.
I think the first one for me would be American Idiot by Green Day. It was so kind of formative in my music listening, and I didn't know it back then. I remember just seeing the music video for American Idiot on like the Hits or TMF back in the day, whatever, like Channel 18 and Channel 21 were on Freeview, because they changed names with whatever station it was a few times. And so, yeah, as soon as I heard that track and saw that video, I was completely sold. I ended up getting the entire Green Day discography for my Walkman as a throwback. But that album and that band changed a lot for me and got me into kind of, at that stage, what I considered heavy music. Like, we were brought up in a kind of classic rock household. So at that point for me, it was like Green Day was getting a bit more punky, and it was like, oh, this is something a little bit different. But yeah, that was one of the first albums I brought on CD by myself, and I still remember sitting there watching that video and just absolutely falling in love with them as a band.
I'm going to start near the beginning as well. Before I got into anything remotely heavy or a bit more alternative, I was a bit of an indie boy. So the album that I think summarizes that era the most, I think, is Holy Fire by Foals. I was listening to stuff like Foals, Two Door Cinema Club, the Wombats. It was the mid-2000s. Like that's what everyone loved back then. It was only from listening to those kind of indie bands and getting my first introduction into kind of guitar-based music that I then sort of moved on to stuff like Kids in Glass Houses, Yumi at Six, Lower Than Atlantis. So I see those like early years, listen to Foals, and that album in particular as being like the first steps to being sort of getting into alternative music. So that's why I've got to pick that one, I think.
Nice. And my next pick, I think, is going to be A Weekend in the City by Block Party for a few reasons. Number one, it is not their biggest and arguably their best album.
And that's the first thing I was going to say.
Which
not Silent
is,
Alarm.
and I love Silent Alarm so much. But I think A Weekend in the City for me is quite resonant with me for a lot of reasons. Number one, I mean, a lot of my music taste, and I guess this ties into Avenged Sevenfold with you, but so much of my music taste is from my brothers and from growing up together. And so I feel like with James, it was a lot more of Avenged Sevenfold and Slipknot and Korn and that sort of stuff as early as possible. But with my oldest brother, Sam, it was bands like Block Party and stuff that was a completely different world. And I think it also kind of, a lot of the stuff that I listen to is obviously primarily heavy and alternative music, but there's a whole other side of music that I love that is kind of dancey and happy and indie, and I feel like Block Party is a perfect summary of that part of me that loves that kind of music. And I think I've always been a bit of like a champion of some of the underdog, so I think that's why I'm picking that album rather than Silent Alarm, because everyone talks about Silent Alarm, as they should, because it's iconic, and I feel like because of that, A Weekend in the City doesn't get the love that it deserves. And I feel like that's probably quite representative of a lot of the bands that I listened to growing up, were sort of like a lot of the openers on the bill, or a lot of the, the maybe the sub-headliner was the band that I loved the most more than the headliner. So
my second one would be Systematic Chaos by Dream Theater.
Huzzah!
Mike
Portnoy Bingo! If you're new here,
Huzzah.
Mike Portnoy Bingo is a game we play almost every episode because James simply cannot go without mentioning Dream Theater's drummer, Mike Portnoy.
Can I continue?
I mean, it's extended to Max Portnoy as well.
It's
extended to Max.
It's just
Portnoy.
Portnoy Bingo.
But yeah, I was young, having drumming lessons, and at that point was just using a single pedal. And then my drum teacher at the time introduced me to Dream Theater, and he played Gary Plato, and he introduced me to the Dark Eternal Night, and that was like my first time kind of really being introduced to like double bass music, and just completely changed my approach to drumming for me. But then also kind of like the music I was starting to listen to, and with how kind of chaotic and mathy and strange some of Dream Theater's music can be, it really kind of changed a lot of my music listening habits, and kind of I think would play a formative path in where I would kind of go, like even like to the point now. And so I think without that album and that song in particular anyway, but that album in general, I wouldn't have the music taste I have now. And I can think of that album and immediately hear, and you all know what I mean, of the intro for In the Presence of Enemies Part 1 with all the octo bands and the tom fills and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, a very important album for me in like my music listening.
Dream Theater fucks, man. So good. I didn't give a fuck about any other prog, any other gent band, but Dream Theater.
Had to really compose myself then, because you were giving like a really nice like anecdote with like lots of emotion and stuff involved. But you saying big up Gary Plato just made me think of the philosopher from ancient Greece being called Gary. And just that being his real name, just Gaz Plato.
Everyone's been referring to him as Plato, but actually it's just Gaz down the wine boozer.
On a side note, there might be like a Formula One driver or a racing driver.
There's a racing Plato called Jason Plato.
It's his cousin.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Because you used to mention him.
What band did he play?
He's one of my favourite drivers.
Oh God, what band? He had a band. I can't remember what they were called.
That'll bug me. That's gonna really bug me.
Gary Plato had a band.
Yeah, he had a band as well. He had like a studio kind of thing that was down like in Crawley.
Down the
And I used
industrial
to go,
estate. It was
like-
fucking dodgy as fuck.
Yeah.
I remember as a kid, Mum used to sit with her beams on, and
Yeah.
you'd watch you just walk down this alleyway and just disappear.
Yeah.
And we're like,
It
it's
was-
James
Well, we're not
boy
seeing him
Martin.
again.
Yeah.
Yeah, Christ. Yeah. But yeah, the driver was his cousin.
Yeah, two-time BTCC champion. He's entering with his own team this year.
Oh.
Big up Jason Plato.
Yeah, big up the Platos.
Big up the Platos, man.
The next album I'm choosing is another one from my formative years at school. A Flash Flood of Colour by Enter Shikari. Came out in 2012. Again, around a time while I was still just picking lots of different genres and listening to lots of different stuff. By this point, I'm listening to some heavier stuff. I'm listening to some drum and bassy stuff like The Prodigy, Pendulum, Chase and Status. A few dubsteppy things like Nero, Mode Step, all still while listening to some indie music, all still while listening to heavier stuff. And Enter Shikari just came along and released an album that just sits perfectly between all of my tastes. And also, I only mentioned it today. It's also an album that kind of, I would have been around like 15 or 16 at this time, becoming a young man. It was an album that kind of radicalized me politically as well. Made me a bit more climate aware, made me a bit more left wing, which are kind of morals and values that I still hold to this day. Shikari are a band that I'll still follow wherever they go. Very excited for the arena tour in November, which they've just announced. And yeah, that album just had so much in it. There's, again, heavy guitar parts, lots of electronics. It just felt like an encapsulation of everything that I was listening to at the time, and still do. I still listen to a lot of different genres, and Shikari is still genre blending to this day, still making stuff that pushes the boundaries. And yeah, I really respect them for that, and really love that album because of it.
Go on, say Taylor Swift one.
Folklore. Yeah.
Is that your favourite album by her?
It's between that and Reputation. For my third and final pick, I'm going to pick my favourite album of all time, which is Life Gone Wrong by Landscapes. And I don't talk about it much on this podcast because I'm quite selfish about this album. Because I almost...
You want to keep it to yourself?
I don't want anyone else to... Not that I don't want anyone else to listen to it. I don't mind if people listen to it, but I just want to keep like all the thoughts and memories and feelings that I have about this album to myself and kind of keep them untouched by anyone else like wading in. But I think this album for me is sort of symbolic of kind of everything I love about heavy music, particularly in my late teenage years. I was listening to so much like melodic hardcore in general, but specifically melodic hardcore, and I found a lot of comfort in albums like this that were, I think, albums that were sort of designed to be cathartic. You sort of go through hell a little bit listening to them, but in like probably the most positive and productive way that you can. And this album to this day sort of, I don't know if it really serves that purpose for me anymore, but it still holds an incredible amount of sort of comfort and, I don't know, just security for me as an album. It breaks my heart that I've not been able to see this band live or hear any of these songs live. They've done a few one-off shows here and there, but they kind of split up before, like just before I was of like regular gig going age, so all I've kind of got of this band, I mean, they have another album, but like all I have is that album to listen to. I don't have any live experiences to associate with it yet. So yeah, I love it more than anything. And I think it, like, my love of that album bleeds into like Being as an Ocean and The Amity Affliction, but then it goes into more traditional stuff like Stitch Your Guns, and then, do you know what I mean? So everything for me, as far as heavy music goes, everything sort of bleeds out from that album, I think.
You say that album's, you feel like that's all you've got of them. Does it feel like a little time capsule for you and like a little...
Yeah,
like
I
moment?
think so. I think it's like there are a few albums that I have that really do... You know, like that Ratatouille, the scene in Ratatouille?
Yeah.
When he eats it.
When he's so...
I think that album does that for me. The only other album that comes close to doing that, this is such an embarrassing one, is... You know what I'm going to say?
I've got a few.
I need to check what the... Oh, I know what the...
I've got a few different ones in my head of what it could be.
Is War is the Answer by Five Finger Death Punch.
That was one.
And the reason is, I listened to it incessantly on a family holiday to Wales to visit our grandparents, me and you.
Yes.
And it was like a 4-hour car journey. I think I probably listened to it the entire way there.
I found them.
And then the entire way during the trip, and then the entire way home.
I found them when I was staying there on my own. I think you were coming to join me, and I was watching good old Scuzz, rest in peace. And I saw the Hard to See music video.
Yeah.
And it was right around the time I discovered Avenged as well, because I saw the Nightmare music video. But I remember seeing that, and I remember sending it to you. And yeah.
And I know
the intro to Dying Breed still hits hard.
I know that Five Finger Death Punch is shit from a butt.
Yeah.
I know that. But that album makes me feel like I'm 12 visiting my grandparents again. And unfortunately, for that reason, it will always be a special thing for me. But yeah, Landscapes, Life Gone Wrong is my favourite album ever.
James referring to Scuzz as good old Scuzz.
Scuzz.
Makes it sound like just the regular down the pub that you see every time.
Yeah. Good old Scuzz. He's hanging out with Gary Plato.
Gaz. I thought it could have gone so many different ways as well.
What do you think it was going?
I thought the part of you would have been like McFly's debut.
17.
Like, is it 5 colours in her hair?
Yeah.
That was one option. I still thought the Sweet could have been thrown in.
17. What, Steam or Walthamstow?
You did have a period a couple of years ago where you listened to E17 a lot.
It's not over. I'll be very clear.
Right, my third album.
Oh, is it Iowa?
Yeah, of course it is. But it's the same kind of things that you pointed out of like that pretty much completely launched me listening to heavy music properly. To kind of go back a bit, I discovered Before I Forget on Guitar Hero 3. Absolutely love that song, and I was like, I need to check out more Slipknot. Went from the debut and listened to that. But it was when Iowa hit for me, which is my favourite album of all time. It was just something that I had never experienced before. The rawness, the anger, the passion throughout it, the heaviness. Joey's drumming in particular was just something I had never experienced. And just listening to that album completely changed what I kind of thought about music in general, and very much directed where my music listening went from there and still goes from now. I think like everyone for the most part like knows the front half of the album because that was a lot of the singles from that, with People Equal Shit, with Left Behind, things like that. But I still think there's a lot of great tracks in the back half that don't get enough credit. From that kind of midpoint of Gently, I think is still fantastic because
Gently is my favourite song.
The way that kind of comes in, and it's not how the front half of the album has been so far, and it's kind of nice and chilled and kind of vibe, and you kind of have the drums come in. It's that sound of like impending doom, and as the midway song of that song hits, just completely switches up with pace, aggression, and everything. And then you get into like the back half of it with The Shape, even the title track as well. To kind of go through all of that, it is my favourite album of all time, and I could sit for multiple listens just going through it front to back. Yeah, by far the most important album that I've ever listened to in my life.
The Wonder Years, The Greatest Generation. Do you remember when you're back in school and you've got even like the younger teachers that have just started teaching, they're like 24, 25, but you look at them and you're like, you're an adult, you've got a career, you've got a car, you've got your life all figured out, you know what you're doing. And then you reach that age and you realise they didn't fucking know what they were doing. They didn't have it figured out. I feel like the Wonder Years, because they're all like 10 years older than me, their music will release and I'll be like, yeah, this song slaps, this is good. And then 10 years later, specifically with this album, The Greatest Generation, you kind of reach that kind of age and then you really understand what they were singing about and you really get it. And that's how my relationship with the Wonder Years has been like throughout the years. It's felt like they're like my unrelated uncles that are just giving me life advice. Like their music is basically, hey, you're going to feel like this. This is what you're going to feel like when you reach this point in your life, when you're going through these kinds of struggles, but it's going to be fine. And then, yeah, like I said, you get to the age that they were when they were writing that music, and it's like, oh yeah, this makes sense. But I've got this almost self-help book that the Wonder Years have written for me to kind of help me through this thing. I picked all their albums are like that to me, but I've picked this one specifically for the lyric, Jesus Christ, I'm 26. Because I remember being pre-26, singing along to that song, Jesus Christ, I'm 26. And then the first time I saw them after turning 26, that turned to Jesus Christ, I'm 26.
Oh, shit.
And I got it. And like I said, all of their albums have been like that for me. They felt like just advice for getting me through life. If I'm ever having a tough time or a good time, whether I need to commiserate or celebrate, the Wonder Years have had a song perfect for that moment. And this album specifically is probably probably covers all bases, I think, on that.
Can I be cheeky and sneak one more in?
Oh,
Go on.
While She Sleeps, Brainwashed. I think without that album in particular, I don't think we would be sat here as the three of us right now, to be honest. Because back in the day when that came out, we were in sixth form together. You just come over to my school for sixth form. We were exchanging USB pen with different songs and different albums and artists.
How old does that make us sound,
I know,
by the way?
fuck, that's ridiculous.
No Spotify playlists.
No. It was all USB
stick,
shit.
Which we'd bought CDs to rip onto our computers
Yes.
to then put onto a USB.
Exactly.
I wouldn't have even been doing my GCSEs then.
No.
Mm.
But I
Would have
think
been like year 9.
there was like, especially off like, I think one of the first batches you gave me, like there was one being Beartooth and the other being Sleeps were like the two that really stuck immediately. And it was around the time that
I specifically chose Death Toll as the
you
Sleeps
did.
one as well.
And as a
because I
B-side,
was
it
like,
fucking slaps.
hey, this guy likes his music heavy.
Yeah.
I'm picking the heaviest song by each
And
of
it
these
worked.
bands.
And it was, at that point, it was the lead up to the Brainwash campaign. And that ended up being one of the first gigs I think you and I went to together. And so without USB pens and all that kind of shit, and without Brainwashed in particular, I think, and all of that, I don't think we'd be sat here as the three of us now without having that album from, well, that band's given to me from you, and having that album as it came out, from us going to our first gig to then that developing and then you coming to gigs with us. Without that album, it's important. I think we all love that album anyway, and I think it's a very important album, especially politically as well, what things and topics they talk about, but it also just fucking slaps musically, and it's just incredibly important to us, I think, as a whole, not just this album's important to me, this album's important to you, this album's important to you. As a collective, I think that is a very key album for us as a trio.
If we're doing that in a similar sentiment, The Greatest Mistake of My Life
Yes.
by Holding Absence. I think
Agreed.
that album in particular kind of unified a lot of our friendship group, not just the three of us, but all the people that surround this channel and support us so much. It's the first live episode we did of the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Lucas was the first member of a band to agree to come on. So I think that sort of signifies a monumental moment for us and all of our friends as well.
Agreed.
What a beautiful way to round off that discussion. Please let us know in the comments the albums that have defined your life and why.
We've got one more thing to do, haven't we?
We have got one more thing to do. We're going to recommend some music that we've been enjoying at the moment. We have a playlist called Ragamuffin FM that we update every 2 weeks along with this podcast. But right now we're going to give you one song each just to give you a glimpse into what we're enjoying. And today, Dan will go first.
I've already mentioned it. I'm going to pick A Wave Across the Sea by Arcane Roots, the new one from them.
Beautiful.
And it's proggy, it's ambient, it's heavy, it takes you to lots of different places, and I think you'll all love it.
Things aren't great at the moment in the world, and often music is the source of comfort and escapism, but it can also be a thing to rally you and inspire you. And with that in mind, I'm going to recommend Take the Power Back by Rage Against the Machine, a band that I've been listening to a lot at the moment, whose lyrics, sadly, are still as relevant now as they are when they were written. And that band is also the blueprint for a lot of other like-minded bands that have influenced our scene and our ethics.
For my spotlight, I'm going to go with All of This Is Fleeting by Polaris. A band that I absolutely love. They kill it every time I see them live. It will be soon coming up on 3 years since Fatalism. And so I am hoping for some new music from them this year.
And there we have it.
Happy landing?
Another happy landing.
Knew you were going to say
The
it.
happiest
God.
of landings.
The happiest of
Do
landings.
you realise you say that every time?
Another podcast from my collection.
Oh, there we go. All the usual stuff. You have to like, you have to comment, and you have to subscribe. But most importantly, get in the Ragamuffin Club. It's our Facebook community. It's fun, free, friendly, and fucking awesome. It allows us to talk to you to talk to each other, and for everyone to just have a great time. In the meantime, Have a great 2 weeks. We'll see you in the next one. The big 6-7. Episode 67, mate.